So in case you haven't been paying attention, the government was actually set to shut down at the end of September as a funding bill has not been able to pass the House of Representatives and make its way to the White House. So this week, Nancy Pelosi and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin have been meeting, negotiating, trying to come up with some kind of stopgap measure to prevent the government from shutting down at the end of September. And yesterday it was announced that House Speaker Pelosi and Mnuchin had in fact reached an agreement that will avoid a government shutdown and also offer absolutely nothing to people being hurt by the economic collapse caused by the pandemic. Nancy Pelosi went out there, made an agreement, negotiated for God knows how long, and walked away with nothing. Nothing. I don't know how else to spin this. I don't understand some of the, pundit class out there who make a hell of a lot more money than I do doing this, telling us that somehow Pelosi pulled off a victory here. What did she do? She agreed as part of this resolution with Mnuchin that they were going to make it a clean bill, no riders, no stimulus for the pandemic. Like nothing that's actually going to help people. We're not going to add in other things to help people because Republicans in the Senate won't let us do it as a separate bill. So we're not even going to try it on the funding bill. So you just get your funding. Mnuchin, you get your funding. You get what you want. And I guess that's how Pelosi negotiates now, right? She walked away from that with absolutely nothing. And let me go ahead and address what some people might be thinking. Well, she prevented a government shutdown, a month before an election. Wouldn't that bode ill for the Democrats? To that I say, who cares? If they're not going to fight for you, why do we care if they get hurt in the election? Why do we care if they lose? They're not doing anything for us now, so wouldn't them losing only make it more possible that we'd get somebody in there who would do what we need them to do? Like, I don't think it's important to save the jobs of people who aren't doing their job to begin with. That makes no sense to me. But this negotiation here that Pelosi worked out with Mnuchin, she gains nothing from it. The Democratic Party gains nothing from it. But most importantly, the voters gain nothing from it. I understand the people who work in industry, or not necessarily industries, but people who work for the government who would be at risk of being furloughed, not getting paychecks during this shutdown. I understand you're ecstatic by this decision to not shut down the government. And yes, I feel for you. And I do agree that we should not shut the government down. But I also think that if you're going into negotiations, you should start from a position of power instead of walking in and saying, we don't want to lose in November, so let's do whatever we have to do to avoid a shutdown. You walk in there and you say, I got 40 million people that lost their jobs. I got tens of millions of people facing eviction right now. The videos are already starting to go viral. We're going to get these people some aid or your government is shutting down. That's what Pelosi should have walked in that room and said. That's what a leader would have gone in there and said. That's what somebody who had a concern in the world would have said. Pelosi doesn't. Pelosi is so far removed from actual human beings that she is now completely ineffective at her job. Pelosi has to go. Because as long as she is holding that leadership position in the House of Representatives, nothing in this country will ever change.